Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Accelerate 90 Work Your Wednesday. We have an awesome session today with your co-pilots, Irma Larizzi, that's me, and Riley Zimmerman. We're super excited to welcome you into this awesome session, and we're going to talk about Creative Studio today. So last session, we talked about Creative Studio and how you can use it for buyers. This time around, we are happy to share how you can use it for sellers and listings. So let's begin. And let's talk about our agenda. So we are going to touch on, first of all, why would you want to use our awesome Creative Studio, right? We're going to dig in to how to set up your profile if you haven't yet. Riley is going to do an awesome overview of the dashboard for Creative Studio and how to utilize templates. We're going to do the full-on tool overview, navigation, and settings for it. And Riley is going to show us how to create a just listed postcard. So we have a tool demo prepped for you. Now let's talk about the why. Why do we want to use Creative Studio? It's pretty much getting creative without limitations because we have the pre-templated stuff for you designed by our amazing designers, but also there is a blank canvas. So kind of like in actual Canva, if you do want to create something on your own, you have that capability. So you can work in it when the inspiration strikes, whether it's a Sunday night or a Monday morning, you can access this platform at any time and work away. New content is updated pretty frequently. So if you haven't checked in with Creative Studio lately, be sure to get into it, click around, take a look at the new templates, and you'll see that the list of the library is growing. And we have a variety of content types. We have seasonal, we have branded, we have listings for print and digital needs. So there's tons of stuff that you can choose from, whether you're trying to post something on social media, whether you want to create something that you're going to insert into the email blast. One of those would be a testimonial social media graphic that greatly plugs into our eCampaign. So it could be one of the things that you can plug in, no problem. And it syncs up with the MLS. So the listings that you have that are actually active or just hit private, they will feed into Express, I'm sorry, not Express Docs, but Creative Studio data feed. So Riley will show you how to access that. But then once you're ready to actually put the order through, that's when the Express Docs kicks in and all of your orders will actually go through there. So there is that seamless transition from Creative Studio to Express Docs for a fast order checkout. And our stuff also plugs into social media platforms, but you do have to actually sign in and set that up. And last but not least, we keep our stuff compliant. So one of the biggest things why you want to actually use Creative Studio is because if you're using, for example, postcards, they have the compliant disclaimers, so you don't have to worry about that. And quick reminder, proper rate partner. So you actually could co-brand with your proper rate partners. You can incorporate your proper rate partner into postcard templates. So you can use the co-listing agent section, which Riley also will show you, in any template to drag and drop your loan officer's headshot and add their contact info. You can also email marketing@properties.com to start a co-marketing on your monthly mailer. So you could do that. And don't forget to reach out to your proper rate loan officer to talk about ways that you can partner together on your marketing or co-host events together this summer, fall, and winter. Now Riley's gonna dig into demo. We're very excited, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So Riley, go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Irma. So I'm going to jump into the tool now so we can do a live demo. I can show you some of the things that Irma was talking about, and then feel free to use the chat throughout. So if you have any questions, Irma will just keep an eye on the chat and then she can reach out to me and we can discuss them live time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started.
While you're doing that, Jen has a great question. Hi, if you co-brand, does the billing divide up automatically? That's a great question, Jen. It's not going to divide up automatically, so you would actually need to discuss that with your proper rate loan officer, how you guys are going to divide that up. And then you can set this up with the accounting. Just explain what you guys are doing and go that route. Riley, if you have anything else to add on, let me know.
Nope, that is all. Alrighty, so to get into Creative Studio, we always start in Platform. That is our hub, that's our home base. And I'm just going to start typing in Creative Studio. You can also find it under the Marketing tab as well. Just note that when you're typing in Creative Studio, the A is the @ symbol. So if you're typing it and you don't see it coming up, make sure you're putting in the @ symbol for the A, and then you'll be able to. We have two sections here. The first one is Introducing Creative Studio, and that's going to have a lot of different resources for you. So if you ever have questions, need some reminders on things, we have this nice little section here with a how-to guide, options to register for our webinars to learn more and access old webinars as well. But if I go back to our Creative Studio, start typing that in, I can click Access Creative Studio and it's going to take me directly to the tool. Alrighty, so now that I'm in Creative Studio, I'm going to go over just a few things that you're going to see on the home page so you can get familiar with them. And then we'll jump into actually demoing how to create a template. So the first thing is right now we're on the home page, and this is basically just showing me kind of a snippet of everything I have going on right now in Creative Studio. So it's going to show me my recent projects, things that I've worked on recently, featured templates, which have been updated recently from the marketing department. So those are always normally fresh off the batch, if you will. So these are more relevant to the time. And then if we go into my projects, this is where we can get a deep dive into all of your projects that you're currently working on or you have worked on in the past. And this is where we can have a little bit more capability to delete, move things around, edit, that sort of thing. So here are all my different projects. And one thing that I want to point out here is I could just click them and open them and jump into a project and keep working on it. But we also have this little menu right here, these three dots. If I click on them, it gives me the opportunity to open it, to rename it, to manipulate it a little bit more. And so one of these things here that I will point out is we do have the ability to delete projects. So if you're ever cleaning things up, you'll want to go to the project section and then those three dots, and then you can have the ability to edit, delete, that sort of thing. Just be careful when deleting. It does delete. I think it's after like 10 days or something like that. So just know that it is permanent after that. We also have your recent projects here. So pretty similar, but it's just going to have the recent ones up at the top. Your start items, so if you star anything that you really want to get back to and you don't want to lose track of it, you can star it. Projects that have been shared with you, so this is coming from another agent, a team member, someone in the coaching and training department, the marketing department, they'll all pop up here if they've shared something with you, and then your trash as well. We can search if we need to, and then these features we don't really use too often. So that's the My Project section, so that's pretty much everything you're working on will always be able to be found in this section. Next, I'm going to go over to My Images, and I'm just going to point this out here because this is something that we want to make sure is updated with your proper images, with your headshot, with your QR code, so it's really easy to access at any time. So I recommend jumping into My Images. Let's say that you have your headshot, your QR code, your logo, and then maybe like a cover image you always use, something like that. Things that you're using often on your marketing materials, this is a great place to keep them because then we can just easily drag and drop them into the marketing materials that you create within the program. So My Images, this is pretty much where everything lives. We have our @ logos in here as well. You can just leave those as is because they'll automatically populate. But those go-to things, we're going to keep in My Images. We also have the shared images section where anything shared with you will populate, and your profile image as well, which is where your headshot would populate. Next, I'm going to jump into templates. And so this is probably the section that you will spend the most time in, playing around, looking at different templates, seeing what's available. And what's really nice about Creative Studio, we have all of these templates pre-created for you. Then you have the ability to customize those templates with what works best and how it matches your brand. And what's really cool is once it's complete, you then can just duplicate from that template that you've already created and use that same consistent template time after time. So you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. But this is where we can have some fun. We're going to play around in this section a little bit, and then I'll go over the other buttons on that left-hand menu. But let's dive into templates because this is where the good stuff is. So on the left-hand side, we have our project section, and this is where we can sort by all of the different templates. So because Creative Studio has so many different types of marketing assets, we have this search menu here so you can divide them up to see what you're really looking for. So if I scroll through, it's just going to start with what's featured, what's new and exciting in Creative Studio. So I can search by just scrolling and seeing what we have. These we call this home are newer in Creative Studio, and I think they look so nice and great. So if you're ever like, I don't know what to do for a postcard, well, we have stuff that's already created and you don't have to think about it. So anyway, I'm just going to keep scrolling through and I can see all of my different options. Now, if this is going to take me too long and I know exactly what I'm looking for, I can go over on the left-hand side and I can select postcards, and it's just going to provide me with postcards. So that's all I'm going to see. Then if I want to get even more specific with it, I can click seasonal and it's going to show me seasonal specific postcards. I can get even more specific with the type of size, if I'm a team or I'm co-listing, so on and so forth. So I have a lot of ability to really narrow down that search so I'm not looking around in here for a long time. So I can do postcards. Another thing I can do is I can do social media. Social media, we have a ton of different assets in here. So if you're ever wondering, well, I have no idea what to post today, but I know I'm supposed to post today, jump into Creative Studio and I guarantee you, you will be sparked with some sort of inspiration of something you can post. We have anything from testimonials to market updates to all of your listing type posts, and also just regular branded posts to you and to add as well. So things that you don't have to customize and don't have to update, they're just ready to go, like this maximize opportunity. It's going to generate your logo and you're going to be ready to post it. Others, we can put in a testimonial. We can do a little bit more customizing. So that's really just up to you with what you're looking for. We do have story size assets in here as well. So if you ever want to post to your regular feed, but then also a story, we have that size for you in here. All right, so that's our social media section. Some other things that I'm just gonna list out that we have in here that you may be looking for or didn't know is we have our trifolds. So those are great little marketing pieces to mix things up. They're those trifold, so there's three pages, but they open up and they look really great. It's nice breakup from your traditional postcard mailer. We also have our gatefolds in here, so if you ever need some inspiration for gatefolds or want to create one on your own, you can jump right in here and do that. In addition to that, we have flyer options, AdWorks in here, and we also have some announcement cards, branding brochures, e-campaigns. So pretty much when you look at marketing as a whole, we have your digital, we have your print, your social, we're touching on all of these areas. But one thing I do want to point out are these flyers. These are really great one sheet flyers, like they're called agent branding flyers. And so you can just drop in your bio, your headshot, some statistics about you. And this is a great asset to bring to listing presentations, open houses, if you're working an event. Simply customize this, print it out on your own time, and you could bring it to whatever that event is that you have. So that's something to keep in mind, and you can do pretty quickly on your own. So now that I've gone over all of the templates, Irma, do we have any questions as of yet before I jump in?
We do, in fact. Pam had a question. What is a gatefold?
That's a great question, Pam. So
Yeah,
gatefold, I love a gatefold in the mail. Okay, we got to mix it
love
up.
those.
So a gatefold is going to be four-sided. It's a mailer piece, and it's four-sided. Basically, if you were to take a regular sheet of paper and fold it inwards 2 times, it would open up into 4 pages, and it's a really nice piece that includes a lot of information. Definitely a value add when it comes to sending this out to your clients, your sphere, whoever it may be, because we can put so much information in it. So this is more than just a, hey, I'm a realtor reminder. This is a, hey, let me tell you about what's going on in the market. Maybe there's some events going on in the summer that you want to put in here. Maybe you just sold quite a few properties in this area that you want to include. Maybe you want to highlight some testimonials. We can do all of this in the gatefold. So right now this looks flat, so it's hard to tell, but you can see here there's a lot of information in a gatefold. And how I kind of like to approach this is we can do monthly mailers. That's a great option, but then maybe quarterly, we skip the monthly mailer for that quarter and we do a gatefold instead, just to keep people interested, keep people informed. So it's a great way to mix it up and it looks really professional in the mail.
Yeah. So we have some questions coming in. Riley, do you want to address them now or wait until the end?
Do they apply to this or are they more like how-to stuff?
So if we have an agent trifold, can it be uploaded into the studio for marketing? So I think it's sort of like a gatefold sort of related
Yep.
question. So Jen, you actually can, because if you have it as a template where they can plug that template into Creative Studio where fields are editable, we absolutely can do that. And then John asked, are there any templates for creating email newsletters? Riley, go ahead and take this one.
Yep, so we have an e-campaign section here, and this is where you can work on those newsletters. You can say they're already built out for you, but what's really cool is Irma kind of touched on this. Anything that marketing has already created for you, they can actually put into Creative Studio, and you can work off of that and keep updating it on your own. So let's say they used to make your newsletter and you'd have to wait for the return and approve, so on and so forth. They can put that template in here, and then every time it's time for you to send out a newsletter, you can simply just change out the information and it's ready to go and be uploaded into eCampaigns.
That's great. And another question that we had, if I have templates created in Canva, can I upload them into Creative Studio and add additional info to the template from there?
Yes, so what you could do is you can send them to marketing. They can recreate that to be compliant with Creative Studio, make sure that all of our branding is appropriate and abides by the guidelines. Then when that is complete, they can upload it into Creative Studio for you, and then you can work off of it from there.
Great questions, you guys. Keep them rolling.
All right, cool. So let's dive in. Let's have some fun with the postcard. So we're going to go into the postcard section. And as you can see here, we have a lot of different options. One thing that I will tell you to keep in mind is you may see duplicates, but that's only because they're different sizes. So you may see, this one right here, but then you scroll down a little bit and you see it again. It's probably a different size. So that's why you're seeing it twice. So just be mindful of what size it is that you're interested in. So anything where it says your headline, we can put any headline in there. We could do just sold. We can do just listed. We can do price adjustment. Pretty much anything you can write in there. Then the ones that say just sold, new listing, those are templated for that specific type of postcard. So just keep that in mind. We also have these coming soon ones, just listed. Again, your headline can be anything you'd like to put in there. We also have ones where you can put one photo, two photos, three photos, some that have borders, some that don't. And then as we get lower down here, these ones are going to be more customizable to just a branding piece, something other than listing focused. As you can see here, it says your headline and then some text and a generic image. We can swap out that image. We can swap out that text. If I keep going down, we're just going to see more options. So you can play around here to see what you're liking, what's kind of your style. And then once you select that style, I would try and stay consistent with that moving forward so people begin to recognize your brand. But we have the ability to do that because you can just duplicate in here. So I'm going to jump into a listing one to show you guys. Let's say you have a new listing coming up and you want to send out a postcard for it. We can do that. So I'm going to scroll down and let's do one of these where we can get a little custom with it. So let's do a three image one. Right now it says your headline here. So meaning I can put in just listed, or I can say coming soon. I get to put that in there. And then it says the street address, the unit, the city. We're going to also be able to customize that as well to the property. Then I can preview the back of this and what it's going to look like. So it's going to show two more photos. I get to put another headline in here, and then it's also going to pull a description. So what's really cool about this is it's pulling everything from the MLS. I do not have to upload these photos and find them on my device somewhere. That's going to upload automatically from the MLS. It syncs with your listings, which is really awesome. So if I'm ready to use this template, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click use template. It's going to give me opportunity to name it, and I'm going to say just listed. I recommend naming it. I know it's tempting to be like, yep, keep going, but name it. It's going to help you in the end when you're looking for it. So just listed, and we're going to say 123 Main Street. All right, and I'm going to create the document. We can put it in a project folder, which is nice sometimes. So let's say you have a folder for 123 Main Street, that specific listing. You can put all of your collateral into that single folder. So any social you create, an e-blast you create can all go into that folder so you can keep it organized. Alrighty, so now we are in the section where we can actually do some editing and manipulate this postcard. So if I look over here on the left-hand side, I'm just going to go over a few different things that you may be using when creating a postcard. And the first one is pages. So here's where I can see all of the pages within my postcard. I can see the front and I can see the back. If I'm not loving the back and I want to do something custom, I can always add a blank page, but no, this is a blank page. We now got to put everything on there. So if you ever need to add something, you can, and you can make your own custom page, but for these purposes, you probably won't need to do so. So I'm just going to click delete page. My brand, this just has our branding information here. So your logo is going to be here, the photos that are on here, which are our disclaimers. So nothing really to worry about there. Text is if we wanted to add additional text to this postcard, we could grab one of these text sizes and we could drag and drop. I'm not going to focus too heavily on that right now because I want to make sure we have time to cover just standard templates. But if we want to get crafty at the end, we can do so. Shapes, very similar. If you ever wanted a shape on your postcard, you can drag and drop and we can play around with that. The My Images section, we actually talked about this prior when we were in the homepage template, but this is where it pops up again. So this is why you want to have your images uploaded in here so we can easily drag and drop into the templates. Next, we have stock images. So a lot of times agents, when they're creating different pieces, whether it's for their brand, an event, something that is different than just listing content, so we don't necessarily have photos for it, we can search in our stock images by going in here and typing in white kitchen, and it's going to provide us with free approved stock images that you can use to drag and drop into your pieces. So sometimes it's hard to find them, and we never want to just go to Google and grab an image that we don't own, but we have the rights to all of these images in here. So anything you search and find is free game to use. Tables, if you ever want to put a table in here, if you're getting really custom, this is a little bit more advanced, but sometimes agents like to create charts for market data, for listings. They've sold all of these listings and here are the prices. You can do that as well. Data is a tab that I really want to highlight. So if you weren't listening before and you tuned out, tune right back in because this is important. The data section is where all of your listing data pulls from. So to actually be able to auto-generate information into this template, it's going to pull from the data section. So once you select data, it's going to bring up all of your listings. Right now, I just have all listings, but we could search a listing. So you could type in that specific MLS number, or you can type in the address. Once you have that, we are going to drag and drop this information into the template. Okay, so instead of clicking these images and uploading one by one, this is where we can have that autofill feature that's going to save you a lot of time. And this is why you should be using Creative Studio over Canva. I love Canva. I'm a Canva girly, but putting all of this in one by one is going to take forever. So this is why we can easily pop in here and do it automatically. So I'm going to show you that in just a few seconds, but I just wanted to point it out. That's where it lives. So I'm going to go back up here and we're just going to start from top to bottom. Basically, how this works is anything with a yellow outline, it means that this is something that we can edit, we can change. Anything when we select it with a red outline, that means it is locked and we do not have the ability to edit it. So you're going to see things like the disclaimer, the app properties, logo, those types of things we cannot edit, we can't make smaller, bigger, because for our brand guidelines, they have to stay as is. Now, if we select something that's yellow, we have the opportunity to change it. So I'm going to double click in here and I'm simply going to just write just listed. Okay. Now, if I ever want to make something a different color, change the size, sometimes I have the ability to do so, and sometimes I don't, depending on the template. I'm just going to point it out here, even though in this one we don't have the ability to make adjustments. If I select this just listed over here on the right-hand side, if I were able to edit it, I would be able to click the color here, change the font, the size, bold, center, right center, types of things that you would see in like a simple Word document. This is where you could make those changes. Now, because this is templated and locked, I can't make those changes right now, but some of them you do have the capacity to do. So I just wanted to point it out. It'll be on the right-hand side. Now below that is the street address. And so you're tempted just to type it in, but we can autofill this. And so that's where the data comes into play. So on the left-hand side, that menu, we're going to scroll down, and sometimes you don't see it right away, but make sure you scroll down and it'll be at the bottom. We just click data, and here's this property in Oak Ridge, Twin Lakes. So I'm just going to grab that one and I'm going to apply it. So I selected the property, I clicked the apply button, and here we go. We have 312 Oak Ridge Drive, just like that. I mean, it's so easy, guys. You got to do it. So then city, we can select that. Again, I'm going to select Oak Ridge and I'm going to apply to shape. Boom, Twin Lakes right there. Now, what's nice is if I wanted to add Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, 60 whatever, or whatever the address in, I can double click and I can add that manually as well. But if I don't want to and I want to leave it as is, I'm done. Now for the photos, very similar. You can see here when I select the photo, we can't adjust the size or anything like that because it's semi-locked, but we can adjust the photo because we are seeing this yellow dotted line. So I'm gonna go ahead and select Oak Ridge. I'm gonna select Apply to Shape, and boom, just like that, there's our house. And we can keep going with the rest of the photos. Now, one thing, it will always take the first photo, the second photo, and the third photo. So if you realize here, or if you see here on my screen, it's taking the first 3 photos, and we're probably not gonna wanna do that. Sometimes there's better photos. So what I can do is I can select this section right here, this photo, and I can click images, and I can swap that out with a different image. I can drag and drop, or I can select a different image. So let's say we want this beautiful lake. I can simply just drag and drop it and swap it out. And then maybe we do the living room here. Oops, I gotta select, drag, and drop. And that's how we swap it out should we want to change those photos. Now you may notice we have something else on the front here that maybe has caught your eye, and this is our circle here to insert our QR code. We have the opportunity to delete this if you don't want a QR code on the front. We can also put one on the back if you prefer. But let's say you want to leave that on the front. What we can do is we can go over to the right-hand side where it says image. We can click on the red image that you see, and it's going to give us the opportunity to go into our images, which is why it's great to have your QR code here. I'm going to select one that I have, and I'm going to click insert, and boom, our QR code is right on the front. So it's super accessible to us if we've uploaded it before, and then we can just add it on. Irma, I'm going to take a pause really quick. Do you have any questions so far?
I don't have any questions, so we're doing great, I guess.
Awesome. All right, we're just going to keep going. So for the back, we just scroll down. You may notice on the back it says this is a solicitation for services, not a bill. It is red. We cannot remove it. Some agents have reached out to me. They're like, what is this on here? Take it off. I wish we could. It's a new law. We have to have it on there. So bear with us. You just got to leave it on. On the back, though, we have some photos here that we have the option to populate. So again, I'm going to go into the listing that we're using, and I can click apply to shape. I don't want to use that image. I go to this section here, and I'm going to drag and drop the image that I actually want to use. And I'm going to do the same thing here with this other image as well. But you can
And
see
while
here.
you're doing that, Riley, sorry to interrupt, but we do
Yeah.
have a question now. Is the QR for the listing or my website?
I would well, you can do the listing that's on your website because then they have the ability to actually be on your site and go to other areas to contact you, which they can do on the listing website as well. So it's up to you. If you wanted to just focus on the listing, you can do the listing website. But what's nice about your website, if you do the if you do the URL that you're pulling up your listing from your website, then they can go to your website and access other things about you. So it's really just dependent on what you prefer. Okay, we're gonna keep moving on here. Oh, another one, Ira?
Yes, Connie, let me take a look at the email that you've sent to me right now. We might come back to it and read through it unless I can get back to you on my own. But the other question from Gabby, hi Gabby, how do we put the listing QR code on?
Great question. So in our handy dandy platform, I'm just gonna jump into really quickly. We can type in QR code generator. And so this is where we can generate all of our QR codes. So you're going to grab the URL for that listing, which you can find probably in the DMS. Would probably be the quickest way to find it. Grab that URL, drop it in here and click generate, and it will generate you a QR code for that listing specifically. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. Let's go back out to Creative Studio. Any other questions at this time?
So quick heads up, Connie, I saw your email. Thank you very much. That one I would take offline with you because that's a little bit more of a custom project. So we can definitely discuss because this is more of like about the branding book for buyers and sellers and updating documents. So that would be more of like, I would say like more of a custom project.
Okay, great. So for our headline here, we can, if it's a just listed property, we can say just listed in your whatever it may be. We can, let me make this a little bit smaller if we can. In your neighborhood, you can customize this however. And then same thing, we're just gonna select the listing and apply it to shape so it'll auto-populate. It says our bed, I'll zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see a little bit better. Our bedroom, bathroom count, all of that. Again, we just click this, apply to shape. Oh, love it. 3-bedroom, it doesn't have our bathroom listed, so it may not have that on here. So what we can do is we can just autofill that. Let's say it's 2 bathrooms and it's offered at $249. You can change offered at to say listed at, however you'd like to word that. And then our description here, again, we're just going to apply to shape. Something to keep in mind with the description, technically, it pulls the entire description, even though we don't have room for all of it. So what I would recommend is make it either a little smaller. I wouldn't go smaller than like 8 though. And so right now we're at 7, probably a little bit too small. So what I would do is I would just customize this to be like maybe 1 or 2 sentences. So you can double click in here. Oops, I deleted the whole thing. Oops.
And if you guys delete by mistake, there's also a back button you can hit
Yes.
to revert back to it. Riley, we
Yep.
do have a few more questions. One is from Gabby. I saw
Okay.
QR code by the images. Is this the one that is on the signs? Can we use that one?
Yes, you can use the one that's on your sign for that listing. My rule of thumb for QR codes, before you put it on anything, scan it with your phone and just make sure that's where you want it to go, but make sure you're labeling them as well. So I would, whenever you create a QR code, you can label it 123 Main Street listing. You can label it my website, so you know which QR code goes where.
Next question from Heather. I may have missed this, but is there anything that we could print off and mail out to Sphere monthly?
Is there anything that we can print off and mail to Sphere monthly? So are you asking that you could create these? You could create, let's say you sat in here, you created 6 different postcards and you sent them express docs and you scheduled them to go out each month? Is that kind of
I'm gonna assume yes, because Heather, if that's how we're answering the question, I mean, I hope that that's the question. Yes, you can pretty much create these, whether it's a branding postcard or a listing postcard. But then once you hit Express Docs has a feature where you can actually schedule these out. So you technically could do that. So this would not be the same thing as a mailer program that we have, like a monthly mailer program that we have, right? It would mean that you would have to go in, create it, and Express Docs would then allow you to schedule it out. And then hopefully that answered the question. If not, please clarify in the chat. And from Maria, can we unlock the area to add more text?
So this area you cannot. This is a box, but what you could do if you wanted to delete everything here. So right now it's blank. You could add in text here. You could just click body text. And then let's say I just started typing listing information. Let me just make this bigger. And I can drag and drop this here. But be careful with doing this, because the reason why those text boxes are already there, it's because that's the maximum amount of text that would fit that's still legible. So we really don't want to play around with that too much. And also you could think, oh, well, I'll just drag this all the way over, but really we need to keep this area clear here, because this is where the mailing information is going to be, that address information. So we don't want to go past where that previous text box was, so you're not messing with that section over there. So yes, you can, but be careful when you do, because it may just be easier to use the templated. There's a reason why they chose that size. Okay. Anything else at this time, Irma?
Yes. What about if we can just print off seasonal or market updates for each county? I've tried that before, but it's not printer friendly. Not an automatic option, more when we have time to do that myself.
Yeah, so I can show you how we can print and how you can send to get professionally printed. So we'll dive into that right now, since that's kind of the next step. That's where we're going with this. You can do a QR code on the back too. Just keep in mind, if you wanted to, you would just simply pull up my images you could grab the QR code, you could just drag and drop it. Obviously, you just need to resize it. You could stick it right here. But again, keep in mind your sizing. We don't want to go all the way over here because that is going to be where that mailing information is going to go. So just wanted to show you that we can do that on the back as well if we don't have that red dot here.
And also, Heather, just a heads up here, if it's not letting you print, sometimes something is off where it's literally prompting ExpressDocs not to take on a project. So be sure to email marketing for them to take a look if there is a glitch or there is something that's not compliant with the template. Maybe it is spilling over to the, the mailing part of it. So it could be several things. So please reach out to marketing and I'll take a look for you.
Okay, awesome. So things that I'm going to point up now are up here in the top right corner. These are just some buttons that you should be familiar with when it comes to actually sharing your documents, printing them, getting them in your hands, your client's hands, whatever it may be. So first off, I want to point out this collaborate. If you are in a team, this is really great button for you because you can put in other team members' email addresses here, their @properties email addresses. They can then receive this document and then they can update it as well, and it's live. It's just like if you were to share something in like a Google Doc, you guys can work on it at the same time. You can be in it making changes and you don't have to go back and forth with saving and resaving, that sort of thing. Everything does it everything is saved and updated live. So this is how you'd be able to share it. You can also get a shareable link, so you could just copy and paste that link and send it via email or to somebody else. So that's another option as well. Then up here, this is where we can preview what we've done so far. So this play button, if I select it, it's going to load. And it's going to give us a final preview so I can see it, how it would look when it's printed out. So I'm seeing that right now. I'm just going to go back to editor because you kind of get the gist of preview. So that's that little play button. And then this download button here, this is to download your document to be able to print it on your own. So this may answer somebody's question. So let's say that you're working on a bio flyer. That doesn't need to be professionally printed if you're just printing it at the office. Something of that nature, a newsletter, can just be printed by you and not through ExpressDocs. You would just click the download button. Then over here on the right-hand side, there's a few things you want to pay attention to. We would do a PDF if it's going to be a print document. But if you wanted to download a social media post, you would do a PNG or a JPEG. So just keep in mind those different types of files for the different types of marketing pieces. Anything print related, I would recommend PDF. If you want to do all of your pages, simply select all. And then resolution here, if it's print, I would do print. If it's digital, we would do Retina. So that's the only difference here. So print, I would click print. Next. It's going to check my document. This is just making sure everything's on the page, nothing's falling off. But again, if you're using a template, you should never run into those issues. And then you simply just click download. And I'll give it a moment to load, but it will download. And you can see here it says generating file generated, and it's going to pull up in my downloads here, one download in process or in progress. And once it does, I'll pull it up so you can see what it looks like. Okay, I'll pull this up and then I could print it right from this screen. So then this is where I could click print and then I can send it to my printer. Again, this is going to be formatted a little bit weird because it's a postcard, but if it was a traditional document, it'll print out just fine. But if you ever want to see what something looks like, physically in your hand, you can always print it out just to view. So this is how you would print that out. So it's very easy and you don't have to send it to anyone and wait for it to be printed. All right, now the fun stuff with ExpressDocs. So if we are ready to get this sent to our sphere, to a certain farm that we're farming, we can go ahead and click share. And then this is where we can click print. And so we are going to go ahead and select this and order prints. Now it's going to bring up a quick preview and it's going to ask us what size. The size that we originally chose was 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Sometimes it'll offer you a different size, but for this template specifically, it's just that size. We're going to go ahead and click review PDF. It's going to take me now directly into ExpressDocs, and that is where we can order it and we can upload our mailing lists. And so what's really nice is once our lists are uploaded in there, they're going to live in there and you can just continue to order each time. You don't have to re-upload your lists. They're all saved in your ExpressDocs. Oh, Irma, you're muted.
Of course I am. One of the other things, just as a heads up, Riley, if you can go back one tab over.
Yes.
I saw that there is a recommended to check for, yes, so see how it says check my document recommended? Just in case, if you guys are truly trying to see if like there is a picture that's maybe not high resolution enough, this area right here will allow you to see if maybe something is off. It's going to be too low of a resolution. So for all the print materials, make sure you only use high res files, because on a screen, website screens or desktop screens, the resolution is much lower, so everything looks crisp. But once you print it, it might look pixelated. So that specific separate option will allow you to identify pictures that might be too low of a resolution to actually go into high res print. So just a heads up there.
Thank you for pointing that out, Irma. Very, very good point. Okay, so I'm going to go back into ExpressDocs, and here is where we can see our proof one more time. So just go ahead and select them to view, and this is where you can see this mailing area section. That's what I was talking about before. So anything that's in that gray section is not going to be printed, so we want to make sure everything is outside the gray section. We have a few options here. You can mail it or you can ship them. So sometimes people like to actually just create a branded postcard, ship 25 of them to themselves, and then they can personally write notes, write addresses on there, drop them off, whichever you prefer, or use them as like examples and listing presentations. So you can always do that as well. If you don't want an address on it, just click ship. If you ever need to find out the pricing information, you can select pricing table, and it's going to tell you based on the quantity you order what the price of each is for first class, for standard, and also for shipping as well. So that's where you can find that information. So if you're ever just wondering out of curiosity, go ahead and jump into Creative Studio. Just generate a random postcard. Don't worry about customizing it. It'll bring you into ExpressDocs, and this is where you could see how much it would cost you. Now, if we scroll down, we can talk about different types of coding. Our gloss is free, but if you want something else, you can go ahead and select that. And then we can click distribution options to our next section here. All right, so right now we're mailing it, we're doing first class, and then here's where we have our addresses. So we can upload an address list by clicking create address list, or if you've uploaded one previously, you can select it right here by just clicking these boxes, and it will send out to these people. So I'm gonna uncheck though, because I want to go to the next page. So I will check. But if we ever wanted to upload our own, we could create an address list and upload our list. How to do this? We go into the CRM, we download our contacts by exporting them, and then we can upload them. If you also don't have addresses just yet, you can go into Sales Genie or Remine, generate addresses for whatever farm it is that you're trying to farm, and then you can upload it into ExpressDocs. We can also purchase address lists in ExpressDocs as well, and you can do that by radius, by searching for a street, neighborhood, or demographic. This is a really nice feature because you're already in here. You can simply just grab, I want to do my whole block. I could type in my street and I can select all of those addresses, and it's really easy and very inexpensive. I think it's sometimes like $2. So it's not costly. If you just need a one-time grab and go, you can without going into the other programs. All right, so you can see here I've selected this address list. My total quantity is 51. I'm going to scroll down here. It's going to say where it's going to send me a sample card. You can change this, but typically it goes to your office, your home office. It's just confirming my product type again. Yes, I'm going to get a downloaded version as well, should I need to access that. And then it has our order summary over here. So it's showing that this is going to go first class. Here's my total. It's gloss, so there's no extra charge for that. No extra charge for the color. And I have my file download. And then you can see here, because I'm using an address list from ExpressDocs, it's going to cost me $2.50, which is like nothing. If I'm getting 50 out of this, $2.50, that's a breeze. So it's super easy to use. And then we can click proceed to checkout.
And two pro tips here. So if you guys, there's a question related to that, Laura, isn't there another area we can find addresses for a building? Yes, you can. So a couple of things here. First of all, there is Sales Genie. It is right on platform. So if you type it in, you will get to the login information and you can actually play around with the map area, geographical area, or if you're looking for other specific things, you could download lists from there for free. Now, the beauty with Express Docs is it runs their own list through the system, and it'll tell you which ones are actually like green check marks, they're good to go, versus like red that are like no go. So if you do use the list from Sales Genie first, you can actually go to Address Book first, which if you see that Riley's picture right on top there, if she were to hover there, there is a drop down that will show you address list that you can preload, and the system will run it for you. So that's like one of the other things. Another pro tip here, if you want to subscribe to Express Docs newsletter, they actually will send you coupon codes. So that's a really cool one. And then Juliet has another question. Does Ad have some kind of chart that shows which applications work with one another? I love all the resources we have, but it would be nice to see all of them on a chart. Trying to make a marketing plan workflow. Hope this makes sense. It does make sense, Juliet. A lot of our tools plug in within each other. So everything really starts with the profile section. So once you have your bio, once you have your, information about your business, everything kind of ebbs and flows all over, like your social media links. So during our Accelerate sessions, we kind of show how to utilize things for other things. So that being said, if you truly want like the in-depth kind of like overview of how things plug in, like, CMA plugs into DLP and stuff like that, meet with your coach, and that will be like a really good session. So it's definitely more in-depth session to kind of dive into, but great question. Absolutely.
And I can also upload, we have a marketing menu. I was just doing it now and then I'm realizing I'm sharing my screen, so I can do it after, but we have a marketing menu that may be helpful that shows all of our different marketing assets and just tools that you can use for marketing. So that's kind of helpful because it just breaks everything down. So we can share that, or if Irma, you want to do that now while I finish this up, but we have that as well. So that might help you visualize a little bit better. All right, so I will take us home here with this last part. Once everything is done, edited, proofed, and we have selected all of our different descriptions, or excuse me, different, I can't think of the word, but the things that we want for this postcard, all of our preferences. Once those are all selected, it's going to take us to our cart. We're simply just going to put our credit card in. It will save it on file, and then you're just going to agree and then check out, and it will submit. So then you can download the PDF. So if you want to just keep track of, maybe in a binder, you keep track of all the things that you've sent out. But what's nice, it will also keep track of that for you in your profile up here. You can look at your pending orders and order history as well to see what you've sent out, what month, when. And we can also schedule as well. So if I go back, let me just show you that really quick, because this is really nice to do. If you're sitting down, you have 1 hour and you're just going to crank out a few different postcards, but you want to schedule them so you don't even have to think about them. You can do that by coming in here. We can say schedule future fulfillment date. I can turn this on and it's going to say, when do you want this to go out? And it will send on that date. So that's a really helpful feature, and it's going to save you some time if you want to be consistent with this, but also custom. Here you go. This is for you.
Great.
All right. Okay.
One thing, if we use Remind to find addresses to market to, can we import save those addresses to use for postcards mailers?
Yes. So in the create address list, you just upload your list just as if you were uploading from the CRM, uploading from Sales Genie. Same thing you can upload from Remind.
And you guys can also use the address book feature in your profile. So you can preload everything, make sure they're all correct, and then you can pull them into your orders. And also, yes, we'll share that document with you guys that Riley mentioned of like how things plug into our marketing tools in the agent app. So all the documents will be there along with the recording. So watch out for that one.
Alrighty, then the last thing, I just want to provide a little next step. So we've learned and talked a lot about a lot today. So I just want to go over a few things of where we go from here. So that first thing is make sure your materials are loaded. So what that means is your headshot, your logo, your QR code, go ahead and go into profile and make sure everything is uploaded, because it's going to sync with Creative Studio. Once you do, take a look in Creative Studio, make sure everything is accessible in there and ready to go. And it's just going to make things a lot easier when it comes to creating these assets. Next step is to just start getting comfortable. The best way to familiarize yourself with this tool is just by playing around in it. Sometimes I just create a postcard and just drag and drop images, move some text around, increase the size, decrease the size, change colors. Just get comfortable, maybe even practice ordering one in Express Docs, because once you do, it'll just become a well-oiled machine and you'll be able to pop in there and create something within minutes. So then the next step is would be to make a Just List's postcard, or whatever type of postcard it is that you would like to. So try it with a past sale. If you don't have a current listing right now, do a just sold. You can also do multiple properties on there as well. So if you want to highlight, 3 different properties, you can do that. But get creative in there, try it out, and reach out with any questions, of course. But those are kind of our next steps. Do we have
And
any other questions?
And little tip here, you guys can also create a notable sales. So they don't have to say recent sales. It could be more of like a branding postcard with like types of sales that you're actually going after to highlight it for potential clients that need that resume piece to qualify you as an agent in the future. So definitely try to use it for other things as well. But yeah, Riley, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, that's kind of everything I have for you guys that we were planning on chatting about today. Are there any other questions or anything else?
No question. So Laura was just confirming if we upload a database, there is no charge. Laura, correct. Unless you actually use ExpressDoc system to purchase their list, you will not be charged to upload your own list. And also, you guys, just a quick reminder that we will be with you here next Wednesday. So please join us. You're going to learn more stuff. Riley's going to go over other assets that will be great for your marketing folder to have on hand in your trunk to whip out whenever the need strikes. So we're very happy that you were with us today. Hope you have an amazing Wednesday.